Hey guys, today I have Art of Soil paints to share with you. So let me take them out. I already opened the package when I got them just to make sure they sent me the right thing. So it was packaged like this. On the other side is obviously my address, so I'm not gonna show that. There was an invoice inside as well. I had purchased the Seconds palette, which was the climate inspired walnut palette. Seconds just means there's some kind of minor imperfection with it, either with the paint itself or with the palette. And I picked the walnut color. There were two colors to choose from. And the fact that there was some kind of imperfection with it and it was a Seconds palette meant that it was 50% off. So it was actually, you know, a pretty decent deal. And as I mentioned in my previous video, I decided to try a couple different handmade watercolor brands, and this was one of them. I just like the idea that all the paints are made of soil, so that, you know, if I'm kind of using them just for my book of shadows, it has like that earthy sort of connection because they're all made, you know, from the earth. So I sort of like the idea of that, and the fact that they're in this wooden palette. Anyways, I just thought it would be good for working on book of shadows type work. So this is how it comes. It comes with a cute sticker, which I'm, you know, happy about since I love my stickers. That's going to go on a sketchbook. This is the palette itself, made with soil and snow. You're about to paint with soil. These are the colors inside. There's 8 colors, and they have the regular size ones. These are the regular size paints, and then they have these mini paints as well. Sorry about that. I got interrupted by an alarm going off on my phone. But if you go on their website, you can read in more detail about each palette, like where they got each pigment from. I'm not going to go into all that with you in case, you know, that's not something you care that much about. But anyways, they have soil plus pigment plus watercolor media. Anyways, let's get to the good stuff. And the box is really cute too. Like, it's cute. It's like a science sort of themed box because I think they are like earth scientists, the people who do this company. Like, they're like earth scientists, so they put these paints together, and then I think the husband makes the palettes or something. I'm not sure. You can read about all that on their website, and their Instagram is the Art of Soil, at the Art of Soil. So here's the palette. I picked the walnut color, which is the darker wood. So it's a little bit rough, smooth here, and a little bit rough here where it's cut off. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way or it's part of the imperfections thing. Probably the imperfections thing are these little flecks that are in here, because I don't know what they use to line the lid for mixing, but it's some kind of natural material. So I don't know, maybe it's not as durable as like the other ones. Here's the paints, and they say that this is about a half pan size, but I don't know if that would be the case, although they do look kind of sizable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-wet them, because again, these are natural soil pigments, and a lot of times they do need some pre-wetting. So I'm just going to put a dot here, just like the beam paints that I talked about last week. Just like the beam paints, what I like, oh, this one's already like dry. These are very thirsty sort of pans. Just like the beam paints, I like that when I use up this paint, so that's why I'm not too worried about it, like if it's even half pan size or not. Like, once I use them up, you can refill it with your own paints, tube paints, or they do sell refills on their website, I believe, individually even. Like, you don't need to repurchase the whole palette. And then there are these like flecks, I guess the imperfections. So let me see if they come out or not. And no, I think they're stuck in there. And they did mention that usually the imperfections have to do with the mixing lid. So I think whatever material they use is more prone to issues. But I'm okay with that, because I then got I got it 50% off, which made it affordable. I'm just putting more water on these because these are like, they're pretty much already dry. I already prepared. I got my good Arches paper again. 100% cotton cold press, so that if there's granulation we can see it, because you can see granulation much better on cold press paper than on hot press paper. And I decided to do some fun swatching as well, or again. Last time I drew paint tubes with paint coming out for the beam paints, but for this one I decided to do trees because the palette is very natural and I thought it would make for some pretty trees. I did see someone doing swatching before where they did trees, but they drew like little tree trunks, and then the whole foliage was the watercolor paint. But I wanted to include the branches because then we can see how transparent the paint is if we have all these black lines to look at. And then over here where there's a little bit of space, I think we'll do a little bit of mixing together, because last time all the paints came together and mixed, so we got a little taste of that, but here they're kind of separate. So let me put this so that you guys can see it pretty well. And depending on how soft or how, you know what? I want to do this so that I don't get confused as to which paints I'm looking at. Depending on how soft or hard the paint is will depend which paintbrush I use, because I don't want to mess up my good paintbrushes. Some of these are like my nice paintbrushes. So let's see if they respond okay to this one, which looks like a really nice one, but I think it was from AliExpress. So I'm okay with whatever happens to it. So this is the Wildfire Sun. So let's see how it goes. Oh, and you know what I did want to do? I wanted to do one side sort of, oh no, that paintbrush was not clean. Okay, let's not use that one then. Let's use this one. And that one's really hard. Okay, hold on. There. Yeah, all these paintbrushes I kind of use, and then sometimes they don't get cleaned perfectly. Oh, no. Okay. That's as good as it gets, I guess. So I wanted one side to be a sort of more kind of a mass tone, harder color, and then this side can be lighter. That's why I kind of pre-wet it. Ooh, this is like pretty. And I'm doing sort of a very random kind of pattern, so it looks more like a tree. It's a lot brighter than I expected, which I'm happy about. I was a little bit afraid that these paints would be like so weak pigmented that you couldn't even see them. But that's certainly not the case. This is very, very pretty. It's a very pretty color. Let's color in the tree trunk. Make a nice dark shadow here, and then a sort of lighter line here. And I'm adding a lot of water, so if these granulate, we'll see it. And they do re-wet pretty well, actually. I was also afraid that because the paint was so thirsty, kept looking dry, I wasn't going to be able to get much out of it, but that's not the case. So I'm adding more color here to give it like that shadow look on this side. That looks nice. I like that. Let me stretch that out a little bit. That's pretty. Okay, let's try the next one, Resilience. And like I mentioned, if you go on their website and look up this particular palette, then it will tell you where each pigment comes from. Oh, this one's really nice and very visible and bright as well. And I kind of am blending them together on purpose. I'm sort of letting them come together. Oh, I forgot to pre-wet it, the paper. Hold on a second, guys. It's good I didn't start working on it before pre-wetting it. I'm liking this new style of swatching where it's almost like a little painting in itself, the swatch itself. Just because swatching is not actually my favorite thing to do. It's kind of boring for me to be swatching things, and so I found a way to make it more fun by making it like a little painting. And I have 2 other brands I have purchased, which I know seems excessive, but my birthday's coming up, so I'm already shopping for my birthday. So, and I did get a good deal on this with it being 50% off. And I have a specific purpose in mind, like I said, for the Book of Shadows. So I have good reasons why I decided to buy all these watercolors. I think I'm going to stop at the 4 that I have right now, and then we'll see if I want to buy more, because I do have my eye on several other handmade brands. Because when I was researching which handmade brands to buy, I looked into all of them, and so I have like a nice long list So when it's time for other holidays coming up and it's time to buy more presents, I already have a long list going. So this color is called Hope. Maybe, you know, I should have looked it up for you guys, like where all these pigments come from, but I don't know. I kind of briefly glanced at them online just to see that, yeah, they were in fact all kind of like found in the earth and earth-based, and then that was good enough for me. Like, I'm not into, you know, the chemistry of it all. And I gotta say, these like little pans are a pretty decent size actually, so yeah, so I'm doing pretty good at getting one side to be darker than the other. I like that. Okay, and last one is Recovery. I made it kind of an evergreen because this is a sort of greenish color. And these are basically that I pre-wet. They all look completely dry, so I'm almost going into like a dry palette now, just so you guys know. And it seems to be re-wetting okay. So I'm not being very precise with applying the water because I want it to kind of spread out. Oh, nice. This is actually, I'm pleasantly surprised because some of these natural nature-based pigments do really come out so pale, especially from some companies that you can barely even see them. So I'm glad that this one is definitely, like, when you paint with it, it's not like it's going to just disappear into the page. Trying to build up the color a little bit, but this one is a little bit more pale than the others, so it's a little bit harder. And again, that might be because it dried out, so I don't know. Let me go back in and pre-wet some of these. Okay, Wildfire is the next one. And I'm pre-wetting the paper right before I draw it so that it stays wet and doesn't dry out on me. Although this is Arch's 100% cotton paper, so it should theoretically, oh, this is very dark. So it should theoretically retain the moisture longer, allowing you more time, but I just want them all to have the same opportunity to shine. This is very dark. Right now it almost looks like it's gonna be opaque and cover things up, but I'm guessing when it dries we'll be able to see all the lines pretty good. So add a little bit more to some of the darkest areas. Let me know, guys, what you think of like this swatching style. Does it seem more fun than like regular swatching, where I would just draw a black line and then just draw like a rectangle or a circle or something over it? I mean, to me, this seems a whole lot more fun. So a couple of the other brands that I bought, I got way more colors. Beam Paints, there was only 11 colors plus one sample, and this one there's only 8. But the other two I bought a lot more colors, so I have another really fun swatching idea that I will share when I do those swatches. But I'm excited about those. Because again, it's going to be almost like a painting sort of activity, but it's also useful in that it's swatching things and testing out the colors. And if you pre-draw the lines, then the rest of it is very calming and relaxing and sort of just You're just adding random watercolor. You don't have to be precise because it's a tree. And the other swatching idea that I'm going to do in the future is kind of the same in that you don't have to be precise with the watercolor portion of it. Once you have the lines down, the watercolor portion can be very loose. So I think that just makes it so much more fun. And the paints are really nice. They're re-wetting beautifully, which I didn't expect. They're way more saturated than I expected. And the colors are really, really pretty and very natural looking. And this paint in particular, this one's called Erosion. It's very creamy. It's like, it has like this creamy sort of texture. So it's very like pretty. This one's Recovery, Wildfire, Soil, Organic Carbon, and this one is Erosion. My favorite part about watercolor is that it's so loose and free and goes wherever, but that's also kind of a hard part with it. So I love paintings where you don't have to be very precise with it. You don't have to like stay within the lines. If I wanted to stay within the lines, I would just use acrylics because they behave themselves beautifully. You can paint over mistakes. You can be extremely precise with acrylics. So when I want something precise, I'm going to use my acrylics. But when I want to have very loose fun, watercolor is perfect for that. We have the last one, which is Glacial Melt, and it should be a pretty blue color, so we'll see about that. We'll see if it lives up to that. Let's do it a little bit, stretch that out. And let's see, Glacial Melt. And it was already basically dry, so it's re-wetting very well. I hope you guys can see that. Again, kind of like the green, it's a little bit on the more pale side than some of the other colors. This one's very saturated, this one's very saturated, this one, and so these four I would say are very saturated. But since I'm using this for my book of shadows mainly, I think this color palette is perfect for that. I want it to be very sort of atmospheric and moody and natural looking. So these paints are perfect for that. This is kind of like a weeping willow. I thought that would work well for this color. Let's try to add a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then we're gonna test out how they mix together and see if you can create some new colors with them or not. And we'll use this mixing palette and see how it works. So since I already have some of this blue, let's mix blue with a reddish color and see what we get. So let's do blue. Let's get some of that red. Let's see what we get. It came out mostly reddish. Now the reason I'm mixing these ones together too is because I don't have high hopes for them mixing well together. So I'm just curious. Yeah, I got a different color, but it's more of a grayish. It's not purple at all. Oh, sorry. There. Okay. It's not purple at all. So let's mix red, blue. Let's mix blue and yellow and see if we get a kind of greenish color. Let's do this yellow. And then this also, so a little bit of mixing allows it to sort of dry, for these paintings to dry, so that I can show you guys what they look like dry. So here's some of that blue. Let's put that into the yellow. and see if we get a greenish color. Oh, it's pale, but it's definitely greenish. But I can make it a little bit darker, I think. Yeah, I got like a very neutral grayish green. What other colors did we want to make? Let's do yellow and red and see if we get an orange sort of color. Here's the red. The mixing palette's working pretty well, but it does beat up a lot, kind of like plastic as opposed to porcelain. Just so you guys know. I already got a little bit of red in there, but there's no point like really cleaning my brush super well because... Wait. Oh, no, I did the purple again. Oh my god. I don't know what I was thinking, you guys. It was supposed to be red and yellow. All right, let's do red and yellow. Hold on. Okay, yellow. And let's do yellow with the, let's do a little bit more. Is this orange? It's like a sienna color. So it's kind of a very neutral orange. It's not, see, all the colors, all the mixes are coming out to be very kind of natural looking. That's this. So it is an orange, but it's a brownish orange. So I'm guessing all these colors are going to come out to be brownish orange. So let's mix some yellow with black and see what color we get. Do we get a green from that? I don't know. We'll find out. Okay. It's not green, but it is a different color than what we started out with. So they do mix together, but in very interesting sort of ways. So I think these would not necessarily be paints I would be doing a whole lot of mixing with. They would just be more kind of paint I use as is. Like when I want a more natural looking palette, when I want to accent things. Again, you know, perfect for a Book of Shadows type of thing. Where I'm not, you know, recreating sort of very natural, or I mean very realistic images, where I'm more going for the vibe and the feel, and I think these are perfect for that. So it's kind of a greenish. I'll hold it up and show you guys. That's the colors we got from mixing. There you go. And then I will show you all the colors we got from swatching. They're dry now, so you can see. Very transparent over here in the lighter wash. All of them are very transparent. Transparent in the lighter areas. All of them are nice and see-through, which is what you want from watercolors. This one granulates very nicely. The other ones, like maybe extremely here, maybe a little bit, and here a little bit, and these ones slight granulation. These ones are pretty flat. These four don't really have much granulation, and these four have a little bit. This one has the most, and it's also kind of the most pigmented along with this one. Over here, this one gets so dark you can barely see the lines underneath. Some of them in the black areas disappear. This one too. In the darker areas, the black lines underneath almost disappear because it gets that dark. So that's nice. There. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and that it was useful for you if you're considering purchasing these paints. This is what they look like. It's a nice sized amount. I don't know if it's a half band's worth or not, and I guess it doesn't really matter. It's a very cute palette. The magnets are nice and strong. I like the snowflake on it, the snowflake design. So yeah, so it works well. And you know what, let me see how well this wipes off, because again, it's got these imperfections in it, which I'm okay with since that got me a 50% discount. But I do want to see how well it cleans. Oh, it works just as well. So yeah, so these like little imperfections of paint flecks, let me show you there, I think it's focusing. These little imperfections that it's got in there, I can't get rid of them, but they also did not get in the way of me using this lid for mixing colors at all. And since I'm not planning on mixing these colors too much, this little tray is going to be plenty, because it can just be like to sort of dab the paint on it before putting it on the page and get rid of excess paint. So yeah, so I'm very pleased with this purchase. Let me know what you guys think. Did you like it? As always, thanks for watching, thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.